So I've got a bunch of clips, a pile of B-roll, and an audio track that doesn't quite line up with any of it. Piecing it all together is usually at least an afternoon of work, even when I have it all scripted out.
I hear you on that. And today we are skipping all of that. We are going to hand the same exact folder to ChatGPT and then that same folder to Claude.
Yeah, same files, same prompt, and same clock because we're going to be timing them.
Yep. No Sora, no other video editing tools needed, just ChatGPT and Claude.
Yeah, so if they want to edit this, they have to write the code and run it themselves to edit the videos together. Then we watch both finished videos back to back. Actually, it's going to be a bunch of videos, and we're not going to watch them all because I like to talk and I ran a little long, but we'll pick a winner at the end.
Before we start, who do you think is going to win?
I think it's going to be Anthropic and Claude.
Yeah. I'm supposed to go the other way, but I agree with you. I think it's going to be Claude as well, just because I use it more regularly and it's usually my favorite.
Yeah, this is The Shift, brought to you by Aweber. Yes. So last Friday, Jesse isn't here today, so you get the two of us, so you know it's going to be a banger. But last Friday, Jesse walked through a simple video editing experience where he had a clip that he really just wanted silence trimmed off the beginning and the end, and it color graded and sound equalized and all that stuff. And it was really cool. We had some great questions and ideas from the community that we walked through live, and we saw some great results. But
Yeah.
it really got us thinking, how far can we push this? Like, could we actually produce usable promotional videos or product videos? And that's what we're going to do today.
Yeah, I'm so excited to hear about this process. And I was like instantly inspired when I was watching some of the previews earlier. Like, I could really use this when I do just quick YouTube how-to videos and things like that.
Yeah, it was so cool. And honestly, I was surprised. We said at the beginning that we were going to live demo, but we're not actually going to live demo the creation process. We're going to walk through the project structure and the outcomes, because one of the things that we measured was how long this took in some tools. And in some cases, the generation process took close to an hour. Now, that doesn't mean an hour of active time where you have to pay attention to it. It just means that it was like I gave it to someone else and it took an hour for them to get back to me with the result. Not all of them took anywhere near that long, but this is just a heads up. If you want to do a video project like this, it's not going to be something that where you get back the result in
5 minutes.
Yeah, at least not as of August 25th, 2026. But who knows? Next month that could be completely different.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to just jump right in, and I'm going to show you what we're working with. So I looked at a couple different tools when I was generating this, because we're going to compare the outputs. I used Claude Code using Fable. I currently have a Claude Code project running Opus, and if that finishes before we're done, we'll view that video too. I used Claude Web with Fable, and what else? I should just go look at the outputs. So I used Claude Code with Fable 5. I used Claude Web with Fable as well. And then in ChatGPT, I tried it with 5.5, 5.6 Sol, which is the newest model, and also with one of their older reasoning models called O3. And just spoiler alert, O3 couldn't do it, or it wouldn't do it in the ChatGPT web client. Like, it just completely failed at stitching together assets and giving me anything back, really. But let's take a look at what I started with. So I started with a bunch of source files. And these are things that with Claude Code locally, I just pointed them at, pointed them at my directory. But when in the web, I would just drag and drop these files into the interface so it had them and could create stuff. And it worked just fine. One interesting thing I'll say is, at least with our setup, with ChatGPT, I couldn't drop folders in. I had to go into the folders and grab the individual files. With Claude, I could just drop the parent folder in.
Parent folder, yeah. Those little things, those little tedious, like are so nice to have sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can upload all of my files individually.
Yeah. I mean, so
just
I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert out front. I actually think the better experience was ChatGPT. We could talk about the outcomes, but
Yeah.
the actual construction experience was ChatGPT. And
Cool.
it was for the biggest reason was when I was using Claude Web, it would hit its tool call limit. You know, like as it's trying to piece videos together, it has to analyze the videos. And one of the ways it does that is by like looking at the frames in the video. It has to do all this stuff beyond just generating text. And it has a limit for how much it can do in a single, like a conversational section. And I can actually show you what that looks like, because that happened in this run with Opus. So this is Opus doing this project right now. And you can see like at the beginning, I dropped in my prompt, which I'll walk through in a sec, and all my files. And it did a bunch of work. Like you can see it analyzing the video. You can see it looking at my B-roll and then piecing it all together. But it eventually hit its tool limit. And what happens then is it told me, like, I hit the tool limit, just tell me to continue. You can say anything and I'll continue. But it did make me come back into Claude, and that was just idle time where it essentially just was stopped. But now it's working on finishing with Opus.
Yeah, that's always a pain of mine when I am multitasking and I have something running in the background. I go do something else and I think it's still working, and you're like, oh, darn.
Yeah.
I've got to go back and keep going.
But and please, as you're watching this, if you have questions, ask them along the way, because I want to make sure that you leave this able to recreate this for yourself, because it's something I'm going to start using all the time now because of how easy and good the outcomes were. And they would have been a lot better if I had watched this video and learned from myself. So the future ones are going to be even better. But let's look at where I started. I started with a script. And I do think that that isn't imperative here. You don't have to write a script. It just made the whole process a lot easier for me, because I wrote out what I wanted to say. And the example here is promoting the shift, this program you're watching now. What I did is, instead of trying to take one great pass at the whole script, I recorded them as individual clips. So I recorded myself saying this paragraph, and then I stopped. And then I recorded myself saying this paragraph, and I stopped. And I'll show you what they look like, because I did not edit these. This is a little embarrassing. So there's all this dead air at the beginning as I'm preparing myself to record.
I can feel this though, because there's so many times when I'm going to record a video and I'm just like smiling at myself.
Trying to tell you that they've mastered AI. And oh, by the way, we have a course to sell you. But whenever you try and dig in even a little bit, everything is, you get the idea. There's a lot of dead air in the beginning. There's also almost be dead section at the end that I wouldn't want included. And the audio is really bad. The lighting was okay, but it just looks kind of flat. That was a great one to start on. So I have the script. I have all of my clips with dead air in the beginning, bad audio. The lighting could be improved. And then I took a bunch of other things. I took some videos of my browser of things related to the shift. So I took a video of just browsing the website. Whoops. A video of the mega prompt doc that we have, and a video of the YouTube channel. Then I dropped in a few graphics, like pictures of me and Jesse. Should have dropped in Alicia in there as well. And the shift logo. And finally, I dropped in a few browser screenshots as well. One of them is of the Aweber landing page builder, because part of the script is me saying you can use the Aweber landing page builder. So I have all these rough pieces that are just kind of like ready to be assembled, but not assembled at all. And what I could have done is just written my own prompt from there. But I did something that I thought was going to be helpful, and now I am very confident was helpful. And I would recommend to all of you that you do this as well if you want to do end up piecing together a really good video. In Claude Code, but you could do this in Claude as well, is I ran this prompt. And I told it the purpose of this project is to edit together clips and graphics to create a video. I wanted to test a variety of models and processes. So output videos should be named in a way that delineates the model and general approach in creating them. Do not generate any video content. Just review the project structure and write a clear Claude.md. In the example prompt, include guidance that actually, that's part of a different one. This was just me telling it to write a description of the project as a Claude.md file, which is a file that Claude or other agents, really, if you just point them at it, can use to understand your project and guidelines around your project.
Similar to like context. If you're doing like a project in Claude and you give it some context, it'll always have that thing to reference.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. It's like this base level understanding of the thing. And what it did then was it created this for me. It looked at all the files in my file structure and it described them. So here you can see it's describing each of the files in my talking heads directory, all of my B-roll, all of my stills. So now it has an understanding in one place of what's in the project. It can use that to help me. So then I asked it to look at this Claude.md file and generate a prompt for assembling this product video. And what it gave me is this prompt. So it points back to the Claude.md file and it says to basically create a video. I'm not going to read through this whole prompt. I just dropped it into the YouTube chat so you can check out that mega prompt Google Doc yourself and try it for yourself. You can see there's only one, actually there's a fair amount of things that are specific to my video in here, like my name and a reference. Well, my name is in there for sure. But the point is it built this by looking at my file structure, and you should run this command or this prompt first so it understands your unique file structure. So then I ran this prompt in Claude Code, in Claude Web, and in ChatGPT for a variety of different models. And let's check them out. All right, so looking in output, I'm only going to watch one of these all the way through, and it's going to be my favorite one, the output that I think was the best to start, and that was Claude Code. And we're only going to watch one all the way through because it's like 2 minutes long, and I don't want to make you sit through that for each of them. Every tech and sales influencer is trying to tell you that they've mastered AI. And oh, by the way, we have a course to sell you. But whenever you try and dig in even a little bit, everything is surface level. People saying they have life-changing technical secrets, but they can't describe them, even in the slightest detail. Sometimes it feels like it all must be hype, but it's not. AI is not the everything just a
tool.
Really cool thing
it's
that
not perfect,
there.
and for many jobs, it's worse than a non-AI approach. But my friend Jesse and I have been using assistant tools for the last couple of years, and they've undeniably changed our work lives. They've made complex processes less complicated, unlocked new ways of looking at problems, and just made work less tedious. That's why we started The Shift. We want to show you what's actually working for us, and what isn't. We demo live for free and share the tools and prompts we use so you can actually do something as a result of watching. We'll show you how to use tools like Claude and ChatGPT as editing assistants for your website,
a little bit,
or how to use them to edit together video clips. I used Claude to edit this video together. We'll also show you how to build a website for yourself using Aweber's Page Builder, even if you're not a technical person. And most importantly, we'll share what we've learned about how to create things with our specific taste and humanity so they don't feel like slop. I can't guarantee it's going to change your life, but I can tell you it'll open your eyes to what's possible and set you on the path of actually building.
Check us out and become a part of the community of makers at aweber.com/shift. So I thought that was really cool, and anything bad about it was just my performance and the assets I gave it. So if I were to critique it a little, and I'd love your critique too, Alicia, my issues with it were the audio became a little desynced from the video towards the middle, and then I think it kind of resolved itself, but it seemed a little desynced. That's a problem, but fixable. The next is the video, or the video section it did of zooming into the Aweber page builder was just, it just looked weird. It like cropped into the builder. It wasn't a good visual. And then what was the last? Actually, other than that, I thought it did a really good job with the assets that it was provided. Do you have feedback? You're muted.
Darn. Yeah, I do agree with the things that you've noted. I think it happens in the beginning too. Your voice, the audio is off just slightly, but that does correct itself. I like that it added like that subtle background music. Is that part of the prompt? I'm curious if you told it to do that.
I told it to go find royalty-free. I don't remember how I described it, but like license-free, royalty-free music to use, and it did that, and it linked me to the file so I could confirm that it was usable.
Yeah,
I didn't provide it music.
Yeah, but I do like that as like that kind of like background noise thing. I noticed that there was a couple of transitions that were like could have been smoother, like from video to video, but I did think it was pretty cool how it like zoomed in and like transitioned into it. So it was like it did it, but I might have made some of them a little more smooth. The text overlay, I didn't notice if that was on sync or not, but I did notice it was transcribing what you were saying over.
Yes.
At one point, I thought I saw it off. And then, but overall, like, that's awesome because you said that this one took 14 minutes to run.
Yes, which was also incredibly fast compared to, I think it was the second fastest generation of any of the tools that I used.
Now, I'm curious, when you got your first output, did you ask to change anything about the videos?
In Claude Code, no. In Claude Code, I just took what it did. Oh, no. Actually, I had it make one change. Initially, it applied this vignette, which is like an outer shadow to the demo videos, like to the scrolling the browser and everything. And that looked weird. So I was just like, just take that away from it. But everything else, it did. Like the thing that blew me away was that this is going to seem like such a small thing, but no other tool did this. Was the beginning, if you remember, is I took individual recordings of each of the paragraphs of text. So the start was just like 3 or 4 clips of just me talking. And that's really boring. As if you're listening to me talking right now, hopefully it's not too boring, but it can get pretty boring. And what it did was it cut between the clips, it changed the zoom level. It's like a little thing that added some life and difference to
visual like depth to it. So your eye saw some change or So it actually zoomed in on the same video clip, right?
No, like it was a different clip. So
different clip, but it did adjust it. So it was different.
Yeah. So let me show you this in the actual. So the way that it got assembled was like this clip, then this clip, then this clip. And what it would do is it would play this clip. And then when it played this clip, it would change the zoom.
Yeah.
And then it would hit this one and change the zoom. It was really cool.
And what's interesting is my typical process for recording a video isn't to do those sectioned paragraphs. Like for me, I like that tip to like have them kind of like pre-cut, because what I typically do is like make one long recording and I might leave a couple second pause here and there, 15 seconds while I'm like getting my next thought ready. And then I'll go in and like cut those pieces out. So I'm curious how it would work with that type of clip instead of the shorter pieces.
I'm almost positive it would be fine with it.
I really want to see how that works. And even taking out like or dead space or things like that, I'm curious to see how well it would do.
I am pretty sure that it would do well because, like, one of the things that it did is it, as part of its process, because what it's doing here, we talked about this a little last week, is it is not using a dedicated video generation model. What it's
Right.
using is writing scripts, or what it's doing is writing scripts to do the things that it needs to do. It's actually writing code, mostly using this thing called FFmpeg to edit audio and video together, to trim videos, to change the color grading, to change the audio. Like the audio of um, that final video was so much better than my individual clips.
Hmm.
Uh, the
It
the
was
light,
louder. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, and it had more presence too. Like it equalized it in a way that was made it feel less tinny. Because
Hmm.
my be kind of annoying if you have to listen to it for too long. But the so what it does is it's writing code, and one of the things that it did, even though I gave it a script, it didn't just use the script for captions. It used this library called Whisper to take my video and generate actual
The
captions
actual
of
transcript.
my
Yeah.
speech. Yeah. So it should be able to see things like ums and ahs and take them out.
Mhm.
That would be an interesting test as well, is instead of doing these individual clips, just do one long take with a bunch of outtakes and things, and then ask it to piece it together from that.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm like laughing at some of my uncut videos that I have. Like, I know I probably have one right now. I could just drop in, but I would want to look at it first. Because I do like you have in that beginning. It's like the beginning is always you kind of shuffling the
Uh-huh.
microphone and like
Yeah.
getting ready. Um, but I do that like a couple times in the video. I might pause, collect my thoughts, and then start again. So I'm gonna try that out.
Yeah, and I see somebody asking, "Are you in code?" Uh, I'm thinking. Oops, there we go. The first video I showed you was using Claude Code in the terminal app on my computer, but this version I'm about to show you is using the Claude web app. So the Claude web app being this, and here you see a different chat generating a video with Opus 4.8. It's working on that right now. But this version I generated in Fable, but in the web app. And I'm not going to show the whole thing because it's very similar to the one Claude Code generated. The thing I would say is, like, if you're not comfortable with Claude Code, you can do the exact same thing, get a very similar result if you just use Claude Web and
Mhm.
give it your files and ask it to piece it together. There are two big differences. One is, like I mentioned, I had to come back and hit continue because it hit its max tool call. And the second is, even ignoring the idle time, it took a lot longer. It took 70 minutes compared to 14 minutes. Now,
Wow.
again, that is idle time. I wasn't babysitting it for 70 minutes. It was,
Working in the background.
yes, but I did have to come back to it. So I'm going to show you just a quick view of this, and then we'll check out how ChatGPT did. It even picked the same music. Every tech and
Okay.
sales influencer is trying to tell you that they've mastered AI.
And
It
oh,
was
by the way, we
better,
have a course
but
to
I could
sell
just
you.
give better direction.
But whenever you
Try and dig in even a little bit, go secrets, but for free, and share the tools and prompts we use so you can actually, even if you're not a technical, yeah, it's very, very similar.
Mhm.
The thing that it didn't do, like it didn't do certain stylistic things the same exact way. Like it didn't do those zoom cuts between clips. But honestly, that's something, if I want it to do it, I should just tell it to do it. And now
Right.
that I've seen it do it once, I'm going to tell it in the future. Like if you're cutting between um, multiple talking head clips in a row, change the view level between them.
Yeah. Um,
So I see Driving Silent just asked, do you notice a difference between terminal and the web application? And the only difference that I noticed was speed. The terminal Claude Code version went much faster um, than the web version. And if you want to know why the web version took longer, it was because the environments that it used kept failing essentially and having to be restarted. None of that was something that I had to do. It was all stuff that Claude did on its own, but it did extend the actual rendering time quite a bit.
so you
And
didn't
no,
actually have to click to like continue in those cases. It was just fixing itself through
yes,
time. Yeah.
yeah. And Driving Silent, no, it was 14 minutes in the terminal and it was 70 minutes in the web app. Good questions, though.
Mhm.
You want to see ChatGPT's version? Let's see how OpenAI did. Okay, so I'll go in here and we'll look at 5.5 first. Every tech and sales influencer is trying to tell you that they've mastered AI. And oh, by the way, we have a course to sell you. So I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. A couple things right off the bat is this did not do anywhere near as good a job at the audio equalizing side of this.
It's much quieter than the others that you've played as well. Like it sounds further away.
Yes. Yeah. Which is much more similar to the source
The
clips I
original
gave
that
it.
you gave. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
the one thing I noticed in the beginning too, which is silly, but it put like your title card right over your face. And like just from like a design perspective, like, you know, off to the bottom or not on your face would have been a better location for something like that, which the other apps picked up on pretty good.
Yeah. Yes, I would agree with you. But it does a good job on laying out the captions. The color grading, I would also say, is not as good as the Claude versions we've seen so far. But it did give consistent color grading. It treated the demo sections pretty well. We'll also show you how to build humanity so they don't feel like of the community of makers. The last thing is it didn't pick music for me. Or if it did, it failed to add it.
Yeah.
So that
maybe that's why it felt quieter.
Well, it's a combination because the volume definitely was a lot lower. But that was 5.5, and that only took 13 minutes. That was the fastest generation that I ran, was GPT 5.5 in ChatGPT. The last one right now, because my Sonnet and 4.8 versions haven't completed yet, is 5.6. And we'll watch a chunk of this. Tech and sales influencer. Tech and sales influencer is trying to tell you that they've mastered AI. And oh, by the way, we have a course to sell you. But whenever you try and dig in even a little bit, everything is surface level. People saying they watch the transitions between clips and secrets, but they can't describe them, even in the slightest detail. Sometimes it feels like it all must be hype, but it's not. AI is not the everything tool. Those it's not perfect. Right in jobs, it's worse than a non-AI approach. But my friend Jesse and I have been using assistant tools for the last couple of years, and they've undeniably changed our work lives. They've made complex processes less complicated, unlocked new ways of looking at problems, and just made work less tedious. That's why we started. Yeah, the clips are just less elegant than, or the transitions are just less elegant than they were in either version through Claude with Fable. But otherwise, like the color grading is good. The audio is better. Clearly than in 5.5, and as both
music as well,
as Erica said, and as Dave said, the music is just weird. I don't know why it shows.
It had music though.
For free, and share the tools and prompts we use. The demo section. A website for yourself using Aweber's captions are fine. This, like the gap in the audio here, is just a Google Drive thing. I was experiencing this earlier. And it did a fine job with the audio. And become a part of the let me go back. Become a part of the community of makers at aweber.com/shift. Yeah, and the end card, that's fine. It did a great job. It's so funny that like I'm as critical of this as I am.
Know, right?
Yeah, because if I hadn't seen the Fable version, I would have looked at this and been like, I can't believe it was able to do this. I can't believe it was able to piece it together. And this one only took 17 minutes. So like for 17 minutes with, again, all idle time, I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to come back to ChatGPT and kick it. It just did its thing. And if I had seen this, I would have been like, oh, wow, that's amazing. But I think like to give a final verdict here, I think it's pretty clear to me that Fable is the winner. I don't know. Does anyone in chat disagree? If you disagree, I'd love to hear it. But from my experience with this, Fable so far was the best at piecing together these clips. Because again, we used the same exact clips, the same exact prompt, and and just let it rip. Now, the one thing I didn't do is I didn't use GPT-5.6 in the terminal. I don't necessarily think it would have given me a significantly better result because if you'll remember, Fable in the terminal versus Fable on the web app were not meaningfully different from my point of view. The only meaningful difference really was the time it took to generate the file.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like there's a couple of like little design things throughout that I like and was more like inspired by to say like, oh, this one was awful or bad. It's just, oh, I liked, for example, the one you just showed, the captions, it highlighted certain words in
Oh
green,
yeah. Yeah, that was cool.
which the version before did not do. No, I was like, oh, that's a nice touch. And it used, you know, the shift green and white, and it did like match the branding nicely. I think it was in every sentence or something. It had a
Oh yeah.
featured a highlighted word to kind of like draw your eye through the content a little bit, which I thought was nice.
Yeah,
But
that's cool.
but again, that's something you can just ask for, right? So it's not
Yeah.
like Fable couldn't do that. It's just you didn't prompt for it, you know?
Yeah.
So like there's
Well,
different like nuggets that I like from different pieces of it that could lead to a better prompt or, you know, different revisions.
that's a really good point too, Alicia, is like I didn't follow up on any of these. So my issues with the quick like smash cuts between clips here, I could probably resolve that by just telling GPT-5.6 that like, hey, these are too close together. When you cut between the talking head clips, leave a tiny bit more space between
Mhm.
the my last word in one and my first word in the other, or pick
Yeah.
less weird music.
It gets really energetic in the middle too.
Yeah, like I could follow up and probably get these to a much better place. But like I wanted to check one thing out. Like let's just look at one piece here. That title card. In this case, it puts it in the top. But
Mhm.
one thing I'll say that it did well in like basically every case is it left enough top and bottom space for the
Yeah.
controls in
Yeah.
something like Instagram or TikTok.
Mhm.
So this was 5.6. It put it there. It didn't really cover my face. I think that's fine and it looks fine. In 5.5, it did the thing that you were talking about where it covered my face.
Mhm.
So that could have been better for sure. And then
Again, it could be a simple reply.
yeah,
Move the title card down, you know?
yeah,
It's just
move it.
out of the box, you know, you don't have to ask a whole bunch of tweaks, you know, if the
Yeah.
design aesthetics are nicer in one, you know, I'm a fan.
Yeah, this one's kind of every
cool.
tech and sales influence. It just kind of fades up. I just kind of
Yeah,
like this one. It's a
it's
little
in a
like
nice
off
spot, yeah.
center feeling, but
There's definitely more depth in the lighting too. Like I feel like
people saying they oh yeah. Yeah.
um
I should have taken screenshots of each of these to compare the color
the
grading.
color correction, yeah.
Yeah. I'll do that after this or after
Yeah, I
this.
think I might have seen in the comments earlier too, someone saying it would be cool if we could get like the glasses glare off.
Yeah.
But
So
I feel like that'll start like warping what your face might look like. That I'd be afraid of the color correction in that.
yeah, and I actually wanted to address that. And then this was Claude Web, where this one just looks really weird with the kerning, like the
Oh
spacing
yeah,
between the letters and everything. But again, it's a simple ask to change it.
adjust that. Mhm.
So to that question about like removing glare from glasses, that gets to something important about what we were doing here. And I think that's a really good way to talk through what was actually happening. Because in this case, again, remember, it's not generating new content with the LLM, with AI. Like it's using AI to use scripting tools to
Right.
edit and piece together elements. So videos, it generates text for a transcript and overlays it using FFmpeg, the programming library. So it's not actually generating any new content with generative AI, other than the text that it's using to drive the scripts. So to remove glare, unless there's something in FFmpeg that algorithmically does that, which I don't think there is, because that
Right.
would be wild. If there is, that's awesome, but I
One
don't think
day.
there is. Yeah,
One day.
it would have to actually be doing either frame by frame
Right.
modifications to the
Yeah.
video where it was
Wow.
generating an edit of the frame with the glare removed, or using a video model to regenerate the video, which is like a very different thing from what we were doing here. It's conceptually cool, but I think that does illustrate what we were doing versus what we were not doing. We
Right. It
weren't
does. Yeah.
using an LLM to generate net new video content, like to create new visuals. We were
Hmm.
using it to modify existing videos and piece them together into something bigger.
Right.
Any feedback or thoughts on this to close us out?
I think this is so cool. I feel like I'm always just like inspired on like, oh wow, I can do this thing too. Like add it to my to-do list of all the things I want to try. Um, but this is so cool because it was neat seeing the video from last week and the last episode you and Jesse did, how that was like, let's just trim this one clip. And now this one was take all of this info and just like make a video. And now I'm like, what else can it do? Hence why I want to try
Yes.
get it, cut up my big chunked videos that have like dead air and space and things like that. Just to eliminate the tedious work that I do on a normal basis. Cause we were chatting before this, like recording a 3-minute video, it doesn't take 3 minutes. You have to cut it, crop it, put it together, use another
Yeah.
tool, put it in there. And like, it'd be so nice to just hit go, have something else, get that first draft done, you review it and give some feedback. Sure. Like you said, it might take 70 minutes for some of them, but it's not you sitting there for 70 minutes. You're doing something else for 70 minutes while
Yes.
that's happening.
Yes.
So cool.
It's funny, the Opus version that I've been trying to get to generate video using Opus 4.8 in the web, it just kicked it back to me and was like, it hit its tool use limit again, and I had to hit continue again, which again isn't the end of the world. At the end of it, it's going to give me back video. It's working on generating the video for sure.
Mhm.
But it's interesting to see that happens. Now, it does look like maybe I got my Sonnet version. No, I didn't get it yet. Never mind. But if we learn anything cool from that, we'll follow up on another episode. The thing I would say, though, is like I'm taking 2 lessons away from this. One is that the responsibility for a truly interesting creative video still lies with us.
Mhm.
The end thing is only going to be as interesting as what I have to say. And in my case, I was way too wordy, but it's like on us to think the novel thoughts. That's not where we're showing you how you can save time. But this removes a lot of excuses from sharing those novel thoughts, because like if I'm uncomfortable just doing a long take, I can chunk it up into individual clips, or I'll really bet that I could just do a long take with lots of ums and ahs and stops, and it would be able to figure out how to piece it all together just like it did here. And then I can put those things into a folder and have Claude, my video editor, piece it together for me, or ChatGPT, if you use ChatGPT, piece it together for you and end up with something that is usable. As long as I have something good to say and I'm putting my humanity and heart into the actual reading of the words, I'll end up with something usable. I think it was Driving Silent who said, yeah, for social media posting, you can't go wrong with the direction these tools are headed. I completely agree with that. And something that we say all the time is when it comes to the generation, this is the worst AI is ever going to be. It's only going to
Mhm.
keep better. And
Yeah.
we see no evidence that that's going to stop. It might at some point start getting better slower, but every time a new foundational model comes out, and you even saw it in the demo today,
Yeah.
GPT 5.5 versus
Could
GPT
do it.
5.6. Yeah. O3 couldn't do it at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Opus is taking forever. um, yeah, interesting
It's so
times.
interesting. And it's funny too, just reflecting on how you were saying how picky we are and like judgy on these tools. It's like it just did all of this in 14 minutes where, who am I to judge? But it gives us that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
We have to
Yep.
be creative directors and video directors instead of doing the manual editing ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, very cool.
All right. Awesome. Anybody watching have any questions before we dip? We don't have any mailbag questions this week, unless I missed them, which I very easily could have. So Jesse will fix that for us when he gets back. And on Friday, we have a pretty interesting interview with somebody else who's just thinking about AI and how it relates to the creative process and who we are as people, like how we balance the capabilities of AI without losing the benefits of our humanity.
Yeah, I'm really interested and can't wait for that.
Yeah. Hey, so if you're watching this, make a video and share it with us. Like, send it to us via email. If you sign up for the Shift newsletter at aweber.com/shift, then ooh, I got a great question. Sorry. This is a really good question, and the answer is going to be a little disappointing, but it points to a broader thing. Did you use any plugins or skills that I missed? No, that's something I meant to mention at the beginning. This was like purely straight out of the box, vanilla Claude or ChatGPT, like Anthropic models or OpenAI models. If you do some cursory searching for video editing skills, there are a bunch. And maybe in the future, we'll review some of those skills and what they do. But this was just using unmodified Anthropic and OpenAI models. I'm sure if you used a video editing skill, you'd get even better results. Great question.
Yeah, and points back to the mega prompt doc as well, because I think that helps. You had started with a really nice prompt based on your video clips too. So that step right there is probably, while it's not a skill, something that you might not want to skip if you wanted to like pick up on all of the things that, you know, came out well in your video.
Yeah, that's like the one maybe like secret sauce here that you might not
Sure.
think of is the first thing that I did, if you missed the beginning of the video, was I had it look at my project structure and generate a Claude.md to use as guidance. That was like a shortcut to understand what all the clips were and everything and my goals. Yeah. Cool. This was a fun one. I can't wait till Friday. We're back here at noon Eastern. And if you want to help us out, oh, yes, you do have access to that prompt. I'll drop it in the YouTube chat again. There you go. If you want to help us grow the channel, if you want to help us reach more people and spend more time experimenting and sharing what we learn, the biggest things that would help us is like the video, subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, bring a friend next time around. Share us with the people that you work with that you think would benefit from this, or just your friends who might be starting a business or looking to grow their business. Cool.
Yeah,
We'll see you next time.
Great. See you on Friday.